All right, what's up, everybody? You know it's Vibez TV, and this is your man JD sitting here rocking with my right hand man Q. And you know we had to come get to a reaction of the Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas bout that just transpired a day ago. So Q, Errol Spence ended up getting the TKO victory, bro. Is that what you expected? And where does this go as we get ready for Bud versus Errol? At least that's what both parties are talking about right now. So tell me first, what were your thoughts, man, on Ugas versus Spence, bro? Is that what you expected from him?
Not at all, brother. Not at all. If you remember, man, I said this was going to be Errol Spence's toughest fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I tell you, it wasn't not. It wasn't not.
It looked easy peasy to me.
It looked easy, man. And, you know, even in a round where, you know, Bud had a mental lapse, you know what I'm saying, where he had to get his mouthpiece game up, man.
Talking about Spence, yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, Spence dropped, you know, because I was initially thought that he was hurt and he was in danger of getting, you know what I'm saying, dropped, you know, get put out of there or whatever. And it was his mouthpiece came out. And you guys took advantage of it, you know what I'm saying? I think he paid dearly for that because I feel like that little foul in Spence that pissed him off. And I don't know if Spence was expecting the referee to protect him. But like the great Mayweather, Money Mayweather say, protect yourself at all times. You know, you guys did try to catch him. He caught him with a couple of punches when his mouthpiece dropped. He turned to the side and went to going for the mouthpiece. You know what I'm saying? And after I saw that replay, I said immediately, I say, Spence he finna get him this next round. I say, Spence finna make him pay for that because I didn't really catch that in live time and saw that. That's how it happened. You know, I thought he was hurt, but my thoughts of the fight is you guys look good in the first couple of rounds when he fought at a distance and he showed his strength because he's a big boy. He's strong. That's one thing I thought. But he fought the wrong game plan after that. You know, he wanted to fight inside the pocket with Spence. And Spence made him pay for that. You know, you guys should, if he would have, I mean, you know, I feel like he would have fought that same fight. That's what made him when he fought Pacquiao, he controlled the distance.
Right.
He was better at the distance, you know, with his reach. And you know he didn't, and you know he countered more, but you know, and it was really he fared right in the Spence type of game plan when he fought him in the pocket, and Spence just other than that mental lapse and him feeling himself out the first couple of rounds, you know, he was dominant, man. I mean, he called himself the big fundamental, and he showed why, and he applied pressure and fundamentally picked you guys apart with the right punches. He threw the right punches at the right time, and instead of apply that pressure, walking him down, you know, he keep his high guard. And you know, Spence's best punch, you know, was he throw that looping right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you can only do that from a certain distance. And he really took himself out. He took himself out of the game plan, thinking he gonna be able to sit in there and bang with Spence, because Spence always, you know, he stayed throwing, and so he turned into a shell. He just basically turned into a shell that had to throw every now and then. Remind me sort of like Clottey and Pacquiao, you know what I'm saying? Where you see the fighter just stand there and be in a shell. And I didn't expect I knew the fight was gonna get stopped once I saw how it was going, but I really initially didn't think he was gonna stop you guys. But I think it was a great stoppage, man. It was a great stoppage. I thought it was gonna get stopped earlier, personally. But what you got, brother?
Hey, man, I'm gonna say this, man. To be honest, you know, it was Errol Spence did what he was supposed to do in this fight. Errol Spence, at this point, man, he is absolutely, in my opinion, people have to understand that being a bully is a skill in the sport of boxing. And he is the best bully in the game next to Canelo Alvarez. If there's any two fighters that have the ability to simply walk into a ring and be fundamentally sound, throwing shots to the body, stepping forward, pushing you backwards, and just saying that ultimately I'm gonna throw punches until you wilt, is definitely Errol Spence. And then you got to put Canelo in that category. But I will say, when it comes to Ugas, this fight didn't go the way I anticipated, because Q, you just alluded to it. It was the silliest game plan you could have ever tried to come with against Errol Spence Jr.
Right.
And it was absolutely the opposite game plan that Ugas did against Pacquiao. So it's almost like Ugas knew against Pac-Man that, okay, I don't want to let Pac get in close and punch me, so I'm going to keep him at a distance. But then when it came to Errol Spence Jr., it's almost like Ugas tried to beat Errol at his own game plan, which you found out that over the long haul, there aren't too many fighters that could stand up to a slugfest against Errol Spence Jr., especially when you're going to stand in the telephone booth and allow Errol Spence to whack at your body like that. I mean, he probably landed 100 body shots on Ugas by the time we even got to the 6th or 7th round.
Yeah, word is he had a broke rib too.
He probably got all kind of stuff because he literally, bruh, sat there in front of Errol Spence as he was a punching bag and allowed Errol to tee off on his body. So, in all honesty, man, it was an excellent performance by Errol Spence. You can't ever take anything away from the champ who went in and did what he was supposed to do. But it was probably one of the worst game plans I've ever seen by a challenger trying to get some more world titles added to his belt, his straps on his waist. That he just that was a horrible game plan by Ugas, man. So I know after the fight, bro, I don't know if you saw the post fight interview where Ugas was like, "Man, I'm sad at how the fight went." Yeah. But it's like, bro, what did you expect to happen?
Yeah, I ain't even watch him talk. I ain't want to hear it. I ain't even watch him talk, and I don't really understand it at all. But what I will say, man, Errol definitely looked good, other than the mental lapse, because even in the post-fight press conference, one guy he brought up that, like, Errol, what's going on with your mouthpiece? He said, he
ain't molded.
Yeah, I know, but he said you did the same thing in the last fight against Danny J. And Errol like, you on point, bro. You on point. He said it ain't even molded from the mouth. He said it fall out. What he better go get that fixed yesterday. And I ain't saying Bud will take advantage of that, but I'm just saying do not have a lapse like that. Do not, let's go and handle all that business, because he looked excellent, man. The eye held up, even though, he didn't really get, you know what I'm saying? He didn't suffer a lot of damage. He was a pain inflictor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And but Bud is a whole different ballpark.
Right.
And he gonna bring, he licking his chops, Bud them, they clamoring for this fight. And he brings a lot of things to the table that the last few opponents or anybody that he's fought don't have collectively like Bud does. Right. And I feel like, these two guys are special. They're the only two right now, that I would sit here and say could beat each other. I got my feelings on Boots, but Boots ain't in the stratosphere right now. You know what I'm saying? Right. He's the next. These two need to fight each other, and these two. I mean, we getting what we want, man. And I told you, when shout out to brother J Box. I told y'all this year we gonna get this fight. We had this whole big thing. I said we gonna get this fight this year. I was just worried about anybody. I didn't want to fight anybody of any real consequence. I was a little worried about Ugas, because I respect Ugas. I know what he could bring to the table, but he came with the wrong game plan, and we got blistered. So I'm happy. Both coming off 2 big KO victories of guys that don't get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys ain't never been stopped until this, right?
Oh, no. I know
he's had close decisions, losses. No doubt. But we getting what we want, man. I don't see anything getting in the way of this fight. And I like that Errol wouldn't even speak on, because you had one guy that he want to air out and say, what about what type of split is it? Errol like, no. I'm not talking about that. That's going to be for our handlers to deal with and figure out what bring what to the table. And that's how we need to be. Let's keep this thing where it's at, man. Everybody, we calling out each other's name. There's no other fights to be made, and let's do this. It is, because if you remember, Mayweather Pacquiao was overcooked. It was overcooked for all them years, and then Pacquiao suffered a loss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A knockout loss. He suffered 2 losses, as a matter of fact, because he fought Jeff Horn after. Jeff Horn was after that. But anyways, then Tim Bradley, he went through all type of stuff, and was ultimately able to get the fight because but everybody's not Manny Pacquiao that has a whole country behind him like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that these guys will be undefeated, meeting still in their prime, and we will get this fight, because I feel like we talked about the car wrecks, we talked about the over the bone injuries, and you just never know. Tomorrow not promised, man. So
Right. And here's what I'll tell you though, bruh. What I'm most disappointed in with the Ugas fight though is I would have liked to see a little bit more from Spence and have to see Spence dig in his bag a little bit more as a boxer.
Yeah, he ain't been tested.
Because the only fighter to date right now that people could really argue has kind of taken away a little bit of the bully tactic and made Spence really box is Mikey Garcia. Everybody else has kind of tried to fight Spence at his game and they end up losing. Now, I will say, when it comes to Errol Spence Jr., I do think the reason why that we will get the fight now, and because I paid attention to a lot of the interviews, whether it was on the Pivot podcast, whether Errol Spence was interviewed by First Take, and there was a number of interviews he did leading up to the fight this past weekend. I do believe we will finally get it because that accident and the retina detachment he got when he missed the Pacquiao fight, I do think he now looks at everything a lot differently. I think before, we all certain times, in life, we have this era of invincibility about ourselves. And I think Errol got to a point where he realized, look, man, if I'm going to cash in, right, on what would be the biggest fight in the sport with me and Terence Crawford, it's finally time to go ahead and make that stuff happen. And I think at this point, now, it's interesting, bro. You brought up that the clip where he talks about where he didn't name numbers when the person tried to ask him about what's the split going to be, because we all know that that's been part of the contention that happened over the past few years. Is Errol Spence Jr. saying, nah, Bud should only get 70-30, 60-40, you name it. And Errol Spence Jr. specifically said that his handlers are going to get with Bud's handlers and negotiate and make it all make sense. Now, I read into that. I hope we get the fight. I'm going to tell you right now, from what he's saying, I really, really hope we get the fight. But when Errol Spence Jr. did make, and he said this, he said that my people and all of them will dig into the analytics. And when Errol Spence said the word analytics, I stopped and paused for a second. I said, okay, when you say analytics, that already tells me what your people are going to the table to start discussing. So even though Spence didn't name a split right there, bro, I do feel like I don't feel like it's going to be as easy as 50-50, let's do it. I do feel like it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth where Errol Spence and PBC are still going to try to push for a particular amount of the pot. And I do think it will still come down to Bud looking at it like, all right, I want to be great. I'm going to still fight Spence anyway. I still don't think it's going to be a 50-50, be over and done with it.
I think it might be something to the effect of it'll be a collective. I believe they're gonna sign a more than one fight deal. I think they'll sign a 2, possibly 3 fight deal. It all depends. But I think they'll fight at least a 2 fight deal. So
see, I'm hoping for that.
It'll be a rematch.
I'm hoping for that.
And then let's just say, if he gets what he wants, or he gets a bigger split the first one, and Bud wins, it flips over. You know what I'm saying? And then
right. Oh, you're right.
So on and so forth. There ain't really a reason this fight. It ain't no reason this fight.
There's no reason. And you saw what Bud tweeted where he said, "Man, ain't no more cross
side
the street talk.
Yeah,
side of the street talk. None of that no more."
And Bo Matt say, "Man, we gonna what he say? He said we're gonna punish this dude or something. Like they licking their chops." But end of the day, man, these guys are the 2 guys that are the biggest threat to each other right now. That's of any consequence as far as being on a level to fight them. Nothing should get in the way of this. We could discuss anything else after this. I don't want to hear nothing else about anybody until these 2 guys meet in the ring, hopefully twice, because I would like to see this fight twice. I think it's gonna be competitive. It's gonna be a chess match. It's gonna be everything, man. So I'm ready to see how this is gonna line up.
And man, and I will say, bro, like I do think and we'll talk about this more probably on future pods. We'll really break down who we have winning or what'll happen. But I do think, honestly, man, this is a true 50-50 fight, bro. Like between Spence and Bud. I think whoever can get their game plan, you know, to come to fruition that night will be the winner, bro, which is why it could be a rematch clause, hopefully, in it for either of them. We'll see. But, bro, like, hopefully we get this fight, man.
We get what we want, baby. And you know what I'm saying? It's been a long time coming, man. It's a blessing that these guys, it ain't overcooked too bad. You know what I'm saying? It's a little serious.
Hey, not too bad. Not too bad.
It ain't too bad, man.
Not as bad as Mayweather Pac.
Yeah, that was crazy. But you know.